I guess you would say I would say the tenacity I played with though. I think when I stepped on that court, I think everybody knew I came to play, and they was gonna have their hands full, regardless of. And I was willing to do whatever the team wanted me to do to win.
All right, I want to know how much of that athleticism do you still have?
You know what? Actually still pretty athletic. Actually, I don't really try dunk anymore, but I can if I really wanted to. But it definitely takes a lot more out of me now because I'm a little older and a little heavier.
Welcome to another episode of the Outlook Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey Smith, and this week we've got three amazing guests joining us: Dan Majerle, Shawn, Marion, and Charlie Scott. Now, when the Suns were playing in the bubble, Suns radio host Jon Bloom and I had the pleasure of chatting with these guys, and here are some of our favorite parts of those conversations.
Let's get your thought on this bubble and the group that we've got going out there and the only undefeated team left in Orlando.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the NBA has done a terrific job of putting this together. I mean, watching on TV, it's fantastic with the virtual fans and the way the broadcasts are going. So they've done a really good job. The players have done a really good job as far as no tests coming back positive. And we've talked about the Suns having some urgency, and they've come out and put it all together. I've been really impressed by everybody. Mainly, I think Devin Booker's been great. He is a superstar. There's no doubt in my mind about it, but he's really done a good job of getting everybody involved in the game, and then he takes over the game when they need to score. But I've just been really impressed with the amount of players that have stepped up, especially the young guys. Some of the teams that I were on earlier in my son's career, we had superstars like Charles and Kevin Johnson, but we also had great role players. And what I'm seeing here with this team is that we got some great role players, guys who are really filling into their position. They're getting better every day.
How much, Dan, do you think that this group kind of coming together and having that unity is because of this bubble environment that they're in?
I think it's huge to be around your teammates that much and not have a whole lot to do and spend time with each other and all kind of just hunker down and fight for one goal is something that I think is very important. And you can't express too much how much chemistry means to a really good team. And as I said, the teams that I used to play on back in the times, I think we were really talented. I know we were talented, but the things that we were really good at is we really loved each other and had great chemistry. And I think with them here in Orlando, they really developed that and have really kind of pulled together to do the same thing.
All right, Dan. So we have our first fan question here from Heber. He wants to know which current player reminds you of you as a player.
Right now, it'd probably be Mikal Bridges, just because he's kind of one of those guys, as I said, kind of a glue guy who, as a young player, continues to get better. He's a hard worker, has really improved his shot, can guard a lot of different positions on the floor, a very smart player, does the right plays, plays hard every position, rebounds. So I'm really partial to guys that can do pretty much everything on the floor and really understands that the little things that he does helps the team win.
We got a question from Dontrell, looks like. He's asking you, what do you think of Cam Johnson starting at the 4 spot, at the power forward?
I love it. There was a lot of criticism, drafting him that high. I think he's a lot more athletic than anybody thought. And as I said, he's one of those young guys, again, that just goes out there and understands his role, has made some big shots, but more than that, just plays the right way. And the biggest thing for him is, as you continue to watch, is he continues to get better every game. And as for young guys, that's the key, is that you always have to get better and continue on that path. And if these young guys continue to do that, it should be an exciting, next couple of years for the Suns.
Jordan wants to know, what advice would you give our current team to enhance their performance in the bubble?
Well, just keep doing what they're doing and not get satisfied. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you can't control in the bubble. The only thing you can control is how you play every night, whether you win or lose. But more importantly is continue to build on that momentum. I think the most important thing is, even if we don't make the playoffs this year, which is a good possibility, even if the Suns continue to play really well because they have to jump some teams, is that they take this momentum that they've had here in the bubble and make sure that transfers into next year. So don't be satisfied and just build on it. And I think that has a lot to do with the young guys. And I would challenge DeAndre Ayton, who's got the potential to be a superstar if he wants to be. He's got all the tools. He's got the size. He's got the athletic ability. He's got the skills. He's just got to play a little harder and have some little intensity and some meanness to him. And that doesn't mean he's got to shoot the ball a ton, but just got to really pick it up. And I think if he does that, he really concentrates and and buys into what they're trying to do and be the best big man that he can possibly be, which is going to be pretty good, then he's got the ability to be one of those guys that takes the Suns to the next level.
All right, I got a question from a fan. Let's see. I think it was Comfort. Do you have a favorite game that you played in for the Phoenix Suns, Dan?
Oh man, people ask me all that time. I'd say probably that whole 92-93 season was such a magical season, and a playoff run from being down 0-2 against the Lakers and hitting that little one-footed shot I did to send it in overtime in Game 5, and then to make the 8 3-pointers against Seattle in Game 5 at home, and then the triple overtime at Chicago. It's really hard to narrow down just one game. I would just capitalize it as in 1993, that was a dream season to have the best record in the NBA. It's the year that Marley's downtown was open. The city was alive. Played with Charles Barkley and some great guys, and that whole experience that year was terrific. Just to fall short, obviously, in Game 6, but that whole experience is something that I've looked back on and really cherish as part of my memories of being a Sun. But that year was it was a magical year.
All right, so Ashley wants to know, if you were in this bubble environment as a player, what would you be doing to keep yourself entertained?
That's real easy. I'd get up and I'd have scrambled eggs with cheese and a sausage. I would work out, and if we weren't playing or practicing, as soon as the game was over, I think they have a golf course there, don't they?
Yeah.
I would be teeing that thing up on number 1 and teeing it high and letting it fly. I'm a huge golf guy. I love golf. That's where I keep my sanity. It's where I do a lot of my thinking. So there's no question that I'd be out hitting the links as much as I could and trying to take as much money from my teammates or other guys on the other teams as I could.
Wait, I got to follow up. Who have you taken the most money from? Which teammate have you taken the most money from on the golf course?
Ah, man, Joe Klein. People don't know this about Charles Barkley. They know about his swing now, but when Charles came to Phoenix, he was a legitimate 8-9 handicap. He was a really, really good player. Could really putt, could hit, didn't have that hitch in his swing, was very fluid. I guess he went to Houston and got a lesson, and that guy kind of screwed him up. But Charles, I played a lot. Danny and I played a lot. Danny Ainge, Joe Klein and I played a lot. So there was times that we'd go out and have some great battles. Danny Ainge is a great golfer, and we used to go out and have a lot of fun, playing rounds with Danny and Joe Klein and Charles.
And then the last thing I have for you, The Matrix. Shawn Marion is our next guest here on the second stream. So he was a Hustle Award winner in 2005, and I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with each other. Tell me one thing about Shawn that stands out to you.
Just his athleticism. I got to play with him my last year in Phoenix, and just a crazy athlete. Great guy, could score in bunches, has that jump shot that nobody knows how it goes in, but it does. And he's a guy that just really got everything out of his game. Really enjoyed playing with Shawn, and just his athleticism, quick jumper, second jumper, got to the basket. And just a really good guy. Really enjoyed my time with Shawn with the practices and going through that experience with him. So I was really proud of the way he kept on getting better in his career and had a great career. So very proud of Shawn and what he's able to do.
Suns fans, I think we can all agree that no one deserves to be bullied. And both kids and parents want schools and neighborhoods to be happy, safe places. And we can all work together to help stop bullying. And trust me, standing up to bullying is a lot easier than you think. Find out how at muststopbullying.org.
Just had a chance to talk to Dan Marley right before you came on. We asked him, what stood out about The Matrix? And immediately, he talks about the highlight reel plays and the athleticism. When you think back about your career, what stands out about The Matrix to The Matrix himself?
I guess you would say I would say the tenacity I played with, though. I think when I stepped on that court, I think everybody knew I came to play, and they was gonna have their hands full, regardless of. And I was willing to do whatever the team wanted me to do to win.
All right, I want to know, how much of that athleticism do you still have?
You know what? Actually, still pretty athletic. Actually, I don't really try dunk anymore, but I can if I really wanted to. But it definitely takes a lot more out of me now because I'm a little older and a little heavier.
I resemble that remark. You know what? I think we want to remind fans, you guys can ask Shawn a question as well. So if you want, just go over to that Q&A button on the side, type up your question, and we'll get to it, and we'll ask him as many of them as we can. We got one from Isaiah here. He says, as a former player, what do you think is the biggest advantage of playing in a situation like this, the bubble?
The biggest advantage is, no travel. That's one. I think, I think it's everybody's on an equal playing field. Though there's no home court advantage really per se because there's no fans there. But I think the video fans is kind of cool too, and the atmosphere they create, like you are at home, is kind of cool too with noise and the cheering and stuff is kind of dope, but it's not realistically, you know what I'm saying? So you can't really have interaction with somebody on the sideline or whatever, but for the most part, it's pretty kind of cool. But I think it's a great chance for we can just see who's really truly the king of the mountain without any help really.
Shawn, tell us what you think about how this Suns team is playing right now.
The Suns are playing really well in the bubble right now. They're the hottest team in the bubble right now. I think they're 5-0, right? Yeah, 5-0. I mean, Devin is leading the way. They got they looking really good out there. I'm seeing some great things, and you got. I'm loving it. I think the mentality and the consistency is there. They're showing some signs that I wish they was able to sustain all year with the young group they have. But at the same time, though, I think it's a learning curve. I think with even with Aiden missing so many games early in the year, they really couldn't catch a groove, and then he came back and had to get in his groove and find a pace to where they all can mesh together because he wasn't able to play. And it's a baby step process. I think with a new coach, new system, and new direction, I think it's a slow process. It doesn't. Sometimes it happens overnight, but a lot of times it doesn't happen overnight, but especially in the NBA game. But with that being said, though, with the additions of Ricky, I love Ricky Rubio. I think he's one of the most solid point guards in the league. He's a pass first, shoot second point guard, but he don't get enough credit for the defense he plays. He actually guards his guy pretty well. I think we talk about how electrifying his passes are, but he actually competes, and he gonna, even though if he's outmatched by that other position at the other guard on the floor, he's gonna try to match up to that guy and try to compete the best way he can. And I love that, and that's very rare these days, for guys to play both ends of the floor. A lot of guys these days are typically one-sided players. They just play, either they play offense or they don't play no offense. Defense ain't even thought about with a lot of these guys now, but for the most part, though, that's the way it is, and you gotta think about that.
What is your craziest fan moment?
Oh, what do you consider a crazy fan moment, though? Like,
I mean, did you ever
interaction or
either one? I think it could be virtual or an in-person interaction. And it doesn't have to be negative. I mean, it could be like a really excited fan who passed out when they met you.
Well, yeah, so this is interesting. So I was doing a signing there in Phoenix. I forgot where I was at. Might have been one of our sponsors for a chain that we had out there at the time. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a diehard fan. I mean, when she was I guess she came in and she was literally just shaking. Like, you could see it. Everybody would see it. Like, it was pretty awesome. And, she damn near, I think she damn near passed out and fainted. And it was pretty awesome. Like, I was like, damn, are you fainting on me? I was like, okay. I was like, okay. Much love and respect. I appreciate that, and, one of the things I try to pride myself in, I think we wouldn't have an NBA league, period, if it wasn't for the fans, and, I understand that and I respect it because I am a fan of to a certain degree of the NBA as well, but of other sports. And I know that feeling and that mindset when you supporting the team and you get behind the team with the city and the movement and everything else, and you watching the ups and downs. And I know and I feel the pain and the aches that a lot sometimes teams and organizations go through when the same process of being a fan. So I understand that mindset because I'm a diehard fan as well. So So I just want to say thank you though, because the appreciation is definitely there, and we truly understand that. Like I said, we wouldn't have any sports if it wasn't for fans.
You know what? I think it's great to hear you say that, and I think a lot of players maybe it takes getting your career in the books before you really get that true appreciation, right? And have that understanding.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'll play with some guys. Some people truly don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they really take the time to really appreciate it. Some people. I've been around so many people that say things, but saying and doing is two different things. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, though, like I've been truly blessed. You know what I'm saying? I take none of this for granted. You know what I'm saying? Everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe in that.
This fan question from Lucy. She wants to know where the nickname Matrix came from.
Lucy, how old are you, Lucy?
I'm guessing maybe a little bit younger.
Like, she got to be a lot younger, because if you don't know where the Matrix came from now, you ain't gonna never know. I'm just saying, you gotta Google it, Lucy. Damn it! No, I'm just playing. No, but
some of our fans are babies.
No,
you gotta give them a little.
I'm just playing. It's all love, Lucy. I'm just playing. But Kenny Smith gave it to me in my first ever preseason game in LA when we was playing a preseason tournament in the Forum, and has rolled with me ever since. So he gave it to me my first preseason game ever when we played. Yeah, when we laced them up in LA in preseason.
Okay,
that's for you, Lucy.
You're welcome, Lucy.
Still one of the coolest nicknames in all of sports, by the way. I mean,
I think it's the best.
Well, I would think you would, but also, just because of, I think, the explanation of it, because you were doing things we'd never seen before, just like that movie showed us things we'd never seen before in film. So
no doubt.
I think it fits.
Yeah, appreciate that.
A huge thank you to Dan and Shawn for joining us. And before we hear from our next guest, fans, I want to remind you all that muststopbullying.org is a website full of information on how to stop and prevent bullying in our communities. So head to muststopbullying.org to change the culture and help put an end to bullying. Now let's welcome in our final guest of the show, the one and only Charlie Scott.
Hey, Charlie, take us through just how your career went, because, you're from New York, I know, and I know you started before you came to the Suns. Was it the ABA first with Virginia? And then you get to Phoenix. You had an amazing stretch of years here, all-star appearances and success. But what do you remember most about your time coming to the Valley to play for this team?
Well, the thing that really excited me the most is that I got to play with my childhood hero, because I got an opportunity to play with Connie Hawkins. I'm from New York City, and Connie Hawkins was a phenomenal, person from New York City. I've only heard of him before that time, and then I had the opportunity to play with him, and that was a big thrill for me, and also the opportunity to get to know Jerry Colangelo. I think who's one of the greatest people in basketball. Of course, he runs USA Basketball now, but I had the opportunity to say that that he was the individual who thought I was worth whatever the price was to make me a Phoenix Sun. So Jerry Colangelo, is very important. I think it's very important to the Suns community, and to Phoenix. So, my biggest thrill, had to be, the opportunity to play with Connie Hawkins.
All right, Charlie. So we've been talking about the Suns and just this bubble environment they're in. If you were in a bubble back when you were playing, how would you have survived it? What would you have needed to keep yourself entertained?
Music. First of all, I have to have my music. If I have my music, then I'll be entertained. And of course, if you're in a bubble, you have to have your music, playing cards. We play a lot of cards during that time. And then, a good TV guide. I think those three things, will carry you through, a bubble, But first of all, I definitely have to have my music.
Michael, one of our fans who's watching, wants to follow up on your bubble answer. He wants to know what kind of music you're into, like favorite style and or band. So give us the lowdown on that.
Oh, well, my wife said I was a romantic. So, I mean, I like, I like soulful music. People like the Whispers and Smokey Robinson and the Temptations. I'm from the 60s. So, I like the smooth music, the Whispers and Luther Vandross. And, I'm a romantic type of guy.
Well,
I
hey,
love that answer.
that's my wife Sally. She's from Motown. You were hitting all the classics from the Motor City right there. So yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people like that vibe. You're not the only romantic here, Charlie. But it's good that you're willing to admit it with us here on the Sun's second screen. There's no doubt about it. We're gonna get to some more fan questions, but I have a question because I want to know how much you're able to stay in tune with the Phoenix Suns. Being on the other side of the country, maybe it's not as easy to see all the games or follow how they're doing, but how close of an eye do you keep on your former squad out here?
Well, I get to come out there a lot, for the Suns. So, I mean, I get to see them a whole lot. And to be honest with you, I'm a Devin Booker fan. I mean, I think, he's one of the most graceful players I've ever seen, play from a scoring position. He doesn't waste any energy, and he's just so smooth. I'm a little jealous of him but I'm really glad that he's doing what he's doing, because every time he turns around, he's breaking the record that I have, and it brings me back to notoriety. So, of course, he's my favorite player. I mean, and then, of course, I love Cam Johnson. He's a Tar Heel. What else can I say? I'm going to go that way. But, I enjoy watching them play. They're a great team, and I just like watching them because they're young also. And they have opportunity to grow, and that's been the fun watching them grow.
All right, so I have to follow up on Cam Johnson, because you were here earlier in the year and you had a meal with him at Mrs. White's. And I believe at the very end of that meal, you said to Cam, hey, if you fail in this league, it's on you. It's not on your school. How do you think Cam is doing so far? Living up to the name?
Well, you know what, though? I'm going to tell you what. I mean, first of all, I never believed he was going to fail.
Absolutely not.
But jokingly, I said it. But, I'm very proud of him. And I think Roy is I think everyone's very proud of him. First of all, let's face facts. Cam was drafted higher than anyone thought he should have been drafted at the particular time that he was drafted. And everybody thought the Phoenix Suns didn't know what they were doing. But sometimes maturity, shows in your game. And Cam showed that he was ready to play right away, being a 4-year player in college. And I think that he has surprised, pleasantly surprised, I think even the Phoenix Suns staff with his growth. And I'm just glad to see him doing what he's doing. That his performances has been overlooked for quite some time, but now in this bubble, and especially with the Suns winning, people are taking notice to how great a ball player he is, and that his potential is really unlimited.
I don't know what your relationship is like with Monty, but what do you think of Monty as the leader of this Suns team right now?
Oh, well, he's the perfect person to coach the team. I mean, the experience he had, but not only that, I think the players are able to relate to him, and that's the most important thing. I mean, they relate to him, and they can relate to how he feels about them. I think the emphasis that he put on them that really will make them a strong team is the togetherness. Is that that no one's going to succeed individually, and I think that he also has a way of making players feel important who might not feel important at a certain time. When you talk about the second string guys and the guys who come in, to let those guys know that what their contribution was is very important. I played for a general manager one time that was very good at psychology, and he was like and Monty's a lot like him. I remember he told a story one time where he was showing us a film of me making a jump shot. But what he didn't emphasize was the fact of me making the jump shot. He emphasized the fact of the guy who was setting the pick, and said how important it was for this guy to set the pick, to make the person who's not always the one scoring feel important. I think and hearing Monty talk, he make the guys who are not the Devin Bookers and the Aidens feel just as important or what their role is on the team, and that's very important to keep a team cohesiveness together.
They bring the double at Booker. Book on the spin, fires for the win! Got it!
What do you think the ceiling is for this young man?
I mean, the ceiling is how long he plays. I mean, you know, he has unlimited potential. First of all, you know, like I said, he can score from any position. And the most important thing is that, different than some other players, he's very efficient in his scoring. It doesn't take him 20 seconds to get a shot off. So, you know, he's very efficient. He keeps the other players involved. And when you have someone like that, you know, he's a joy to play with, because even though he's doing the scoring, when he's not scoring, he's taking enough attention that he give other players ability to make easy baskets or get in good scoring positions. So, I mean, he's the perfect guy to play with. You know, he's a great basketball player. I think that the bubble has really given him opportunity to really show the the rest of the NBA what kind of player he is, because too many times you get lost in the record of the team rather than looking at the individual performance of the player. And I think that his performances have been overlooked for quite some time. But now in this bubble, and especially with the Suns winning, people are taking notice to how great a ball player he is, and that his potential is really unlimited.
I want to get your thoughts and opinions on how the NBA is allowing players to continue the conversation of social justice and Black Lives Matter throughout this bubble experience.
Well, you know, I think the NBA has always been the forefront of social justice. You know, and I think they're doing a great job. You got a sport that's majority of black, so I think that it's very good that you listen to what they have to say. You know, as a black man, a lot of the experience that people have gone through, I mean, I have gone through in my life, so I know that they do exist. And I do know that there are good people on both sides. But the thing about it is that we have to recognize that there are social injustices. And then once we recognize it and accept that fact, then we can remedy it. And I think that the NBA is doing a great job. I think, you know, I think the NBA had great leadership in guys like Chris Paul and LeBron James. And I think that, you know, I'm proud to be a member of the NBA and to know that, you know, they're in the forefront of leading this. Because, I mean, the only thing it's going to lead us into is a better society and a better place to be. And that's what we should be all striving for.
Absolutely, Charlie. I mean, so we actually have a fan question here for you that is kind of along the lines of just your experience with social justice and with fighting for change. So Michael wants to know if you ever look back and recognize the importance of yourself within the landscape of college and pro basketball, because I know your college experience was very unique. You were the first African-American scholarship athlete to play at UNC.
Well, yes, and in fact, I was the first scholarship athlete in the South. I mean, in the whole South. So I mean, yes, and it was a different experience, but you know, it's an experience that I'm proud that I had the opportunity to make a contribution. You know, I mean, I was brought up during the civil rights eras in the '60s, and responsibility is one thing that I learned was very important, and I had the opportunity to make a difference, and had a coach that was willing to take the chance to change society. And I've been very fortunate, you know, that I was able to do and be successful in that, you know. But I had great mentors that, you know, led me down that path and helped me in that direction. And I'm just glad to be able to say that, you know, I had a small imprint on some of the changes that have been made in college athletics, especially at the University of North Carolina.
Charlie, once again, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Stay safe and healthy, and go Suns.
Go Suns. Thank you very much.